everybody ready?
Wait. Just make sure.
Well, it's going to play some music.
They should have just said signed English.
Oh. So you guys don't want to do signed English?
We can't as a classroom.
Oh, draft.
Did you do it on purpose so you
I
can
want
see
to watch
what
it. Stop. I want to watch it, please.
Oh, here we go.
Just kidding. All right, you ready?
I'm so upset. They just gave us a chance to like basically cheat. You can get rid of it.
EIPA mock assessment. This is sample A. You will first have the opportunity to meet the teacher for whom you will interpret. You will see a prompt on the screen to tell you when to begin your interpretation. You only need to interpret from English to sign. Imagine the video camera is the deaf student. Good luck.
Boys and girls, today we're going to talk about, in science, our bodies. And we're going to talk specifically about our esophagus and our stomach and our intestines. And then we're going to talk about our trachea and our lungs and our heart. So the first thing we're going to do is our first investigation is going to be where we measure our heart rate. And we're going to go and make a graph, and we'll have 3 different activities. The first activity actually is inactivity. We're going to just sit, and we're going to measure our heart rate for 1 minute to see how many times we breathe out, and we'll count those in 1 minute, and we'll put that on a chart. Second will be just jumping or marching for 1 minute. Let's march for our second one. We'll march with our knees high. Then the third activity will be running in place, and we'll do that for 1 minute. And so what we'll do is we'll measure how fast or how slow we breathe in and out. Right? So with your partners, James, make sure you're working with Shirley. And with our partners, then we will be going ahead and doing that investigation. We're going to be thinking about how we use air and how often we need oxygen in our bodies. So go ahead and start that right now. Boys and girls, when we did our respiration measuring with our heart rate, we noticed how we really had a different heart rate when we were doing different things. As we're here and we're just breathing in our nose and our mouth, we breathe in our oxygen, and it comes down our trachea, comes into our lungs, where the trachea divides into different branches, and those branches get smaller and smaller, and they end in air sacs. And the air sacs are surrounded by tiny little capillaries that actually have very thin walls, and the walls between the tiny air sacs and the capillaries, gases can pass through them. So when we take a breath in, then that oxygen goes through the air sacs into the capillaries, and those capillaries carry that oxygenated blood, or the blood that now has oxygen, to our body cells. And that's really how our cells get the oxygen to breathe. Now, our heart does the pumping, and our heart is a very special muscle, and it's really just about the size of your fist. That's amazing to think that your heart, that small, can pump blood all the way through your body. And it's just kind of like the same thing with a faucet. When you turn a faucet on and you run the water, when you run the water really hard, or you want to run a lot of water, then there's a lot of water going through the faucet. The same thing goes with the heart. When you were running, when we did our investigation, you were pumping a lot of blood through your heart. Well, when you're resting, as we measured when you were just sitting, and we rested the way that you counted your breaths, it's amazing the way it's just like a slow trickle, just like a faucet. So the heart is very special in that it has 4 chambers, kind of like rooms. And these 4 chambers pump the blood, and that blood that comes in from your body, and that's tired blood that's really getting rid of carbon dioxide, that blood comes in, and then the heart pumps it through and takes the oxygenated blood and pumps it back into the body. But the 4 chambers are really important because they keep the blood separate. The blood that has oxygen in it isn't mixed with the blood that has carbon dioxide in it. So they keep the blood separate, and it sends all of the blood to our muscles and to our body when we're working. Now, when we talked about the breath rate, we showed how when you're resting, you breathe less. When you're running, you breathe more. And the reason for that is your muscles need more oxygen. So when your muscles are working harder, those cells in the muscles need more oxygen. When your muscles are resting, they need less oxygen. But just as you're working harder, you're breathing in, you're carrying more oxygen into your body, also you're breathing out more because you're getting rid of more carbon dioxide. All right? Now we're going to go on to another lesson. So put your things away and get ready. We'll stand up and stretch for a minute, and then we'll carry on. Boys and girls, in science today, we're going to talk about the digestive system. And you know, we just had lunch and we're sitting here, and our bodies are actually doing the things that we're going to talk about right now. And when you went to lunch today, you were eating that terrific pizza, and you took a bite, and then you chewed it, and it went down your esophagus. And remember, we talked about this before. Your esophagus is that long tube that's surrounded by muscle, and that the muscle pushes the food down into your stomach, which is that bag of smooth muscle, and the stomach mixes it and churns it and helps break that food down, mixing it with digestive juices. Sounds a little bit gross, but it's really important. Then the food is pushed into the intestines, and the intestines, actually the small intestines, do the most work of any other part of your organs in the digestive system. And in that time, when the food is in the digestive system and in the intestines, the food is changed, adding more digestive juices, and the nutrients from the food pass through the walls of the intestines and go out into the bloodstream that delivers all those nutrients to our bodies. And that's why you can stay awake and be so fascinated today in science. And then when it goes into the large intestines, really the food can't be broken down much more, and just water is removed from the food at that point. So then the body just eliminates and passes that food out of the body. Now what we're going to do is go back up to the top of the digestive system and talk about our mouths. Remember the other day we did do that investigation where we used a lemon, and we tasted the lemon wedges, and we noticed how in our mouths saliva was produced. But we talked about where did that come from. When we talked about the lemon and used the lemon, we really had a sense of, wow, there were saliva glands in the bottom and also in the top of our mouth. That was strange. I never knew where that came from before. But today our investigation is really about the tongue. When you first taste food, it just seems like it's good or it's bad. But what I've noticed is that we want to know more about that and the things that that we've read about the tongue when we were doing research on our bodies, it's fascinating to see that there's actually areas of the tongue. There's the sides of the tongue, or the blades, the tip of the tongue, and the back of the tongue. And so today in our experiment, we're going to use 4 solutions, and we're going to see if you can identify which areas of the tongue you really notice that you taste things more intensely. So we're going to use a Q-tip and 4 solutions. The solutions will be salty water, sugary water, vinegar, I know you're going to love that one, and coffee. Okay? So we're going to be tasting sweet things, salty things, bitter things, and sour things. Right? First, you're going to be looking at your tongue using a hand lens, and then you're going to be writing down what you observe. So you use your hand lens, holding it about 2 inches from your tongue, look in the mirror, and write down what you see. You notice on your paper, you have an area to do that. Ready? Next, we'll be using the 4 different solutions, and we'll be working with partners and dipping Q-tips into the solutions and then putting them on the different areas of our tongue. Notice that you can taste it all over your tongue, but notice where you can taste it more intensely. You'll really have a surprise, I think, in this lesson. So in between times, you'll be wiping your tongue off so that it's kind of clean before you start and you don't mix the solutions, right? So go ahead and give that a whirl.